So we will discuss the problem GCD to 1 easy. It has asked in starter 155 of CodeSafe contest. So the problem states that we have to construct a matrix A of size n and m. So n rows are there and m columns are there, and these both rows and columns are given. So the condition given that we have to construct this matrix in a way that for every row and column, the GCD of the elements should be 1. And one condition is that the element of that matrix should lie between 2 and 10 to the power 9. And these are the input format, and the output is that we have to print the matrix, the element of that matrix. So if we take an example, the sample input given that n equal to 3 and m equal to 3. That is, the rows are 3 and columns are 3. Basically, it is a square matrix. So the output generated is 5, 2, 9, 6, 11, 7, 19, 15, and 16. You can see that for every row or column, the GCD of that element of that row is 1. And it is also mentioned in the question that multiple answers can be possible. Like it is given that 5 to 9, 6, 11, 7, 19, 15, 16. It is one of the answer that is correct, but multiple answers is possible in this question. So the very first thing comes in our mind that to make the GCD of multiple elements, suppose we take currently 2 elements, to make this elements GCD equal to 1, why not take 1, like same number 1 and 1, so the GCD would be 1. But that's why it is especially mentioned in the question that we have to take the element of the array as starting from the 2. So definitely this will not work. Now, if we take, suppose if we take 2 and 2, the GCD would not be 1. The GCD would be 2, which is not the condition we are following. We have to make the 1 as the GCD. So if we take, instead of 2 for both x1 and x2, not taking 2, if we take 2 and 3, now the elements are different, and if we see the GCD of these two elements, the GCD would be 1. So one thing is correct, that it is following the condition that GCD would be 1. And if one thing I want to like focus, that these two numbers are co-primes number. Like what co-primes define, that two two numbers are said to be co-prime if both have the highest common factor as 1. Like if we take, if the factors of 2 are 1 and 2, and if we use for 3, the factors would be 1 and 3, and the SCF would be the common one, SCF would be 1. So 2 and 3 are the co-primes. That's why it is following the condition that GCD would be 1. So there is a question that we need to take only 2 and 3, the answer would not be the same. Like we can take other numbers, like one point comes under co-prime, that for any successive natural numbers, the for every successive natural numbers, the both numbers would be co-primes. Like if we take the example of any numbers like 15 or 16, you can find the factors. Like 15 has the factors 1, 5, and 15, but 16 has factors 1 and 16. So the SCF would become as 1 only. So this point needs to be taken care that you can take any numbers, but the condition is that those numbers should be successive. So currently we are taking the 2 and a 3. Now if we take the example of 3 by 3 matrix, like we have discussed here, we need to print the 2 and 3. And if any row or column, since there are rows having 3 elements and we are discussing the 2 elements, but the condition is that if any row contains one number as 2 and the other number as 3, then the GCD of that both numbers would be 1. And we just need to print the 2 or 3, any of them, in the third element. Now suppose if we printed 2 here and 3 here, now we have to print one value in the third cell, where we have two options, either 2 or 3. And if we take the example that if we do the GCD of 2, 3, and 2, it would be 1. And if we take the GCD of 2, 3, and 3, it would be same, 1. But the question is that how we can determine that this particular cell needs to have the value 2, or this particular will contain the value 3. So we have to basically differentiate between the every cells of the matrix. And how we can do that? We can follow the indexes, like the coordinates of the each cell. Currently, if we look at the first cell, this one, what are the indexes? 0 and 0. And if we add this both index, it will result as 0. And this 0 is not other than but it is even number. Now we will take the other one. Suppose we are taking this cell. The indexes would be 0 and 1. If we sum the index, it would be 1, and it is odd number. And like if we take the cell below this one, the indexes would be 1 plus 0. It would also be odd. Now we can see that every adjacent cells would have different values. Either it is even or it is odd, but definitely it would be different. So we will do one thing, that we will iterate the matrix. And if the sum of that matrix of that cell's indexes is even, we will simply put the value 2. And if the sum of that cell would be odd, then we will put the value 3. Now if we take this 3 by 3 matrix example and try to fill the indexes would be 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. Now for the first cell, it is 0 plus 0 even, so it will filled with 2, and the other one would fill with odd, because the 0 plus 1 would be odd and it would be filled as 3, and the other cell would be even, and if it is even, it would be filled as 2. Same for the below one, 0 plus 1 would be odd, so it will fill with 3. 1 plus 1 would be 2, so this would be filled with 2. Other one would be 3, and this one would be 2, 3, and 2. Now if we check for each row and each column, you can see that the GCD would be 1. If we take this row, it has the value 2, 3, and 2. And you can see that 1 has factors 1 into 2, 3 has factors 1 into 3, and 2 has factors 1 into 2. So the GCD would be 1 only. And same applies for the column also. The GCD would be 1. So you can use, like we have discussed here, co-primes concept. Successive natural numbers will give the required answer. Like 15, 16 would also give the answer if I put here, like if the indexes are even, you can fill the 15, and if the indexes sum would be odd, then you can fill the 16. But if this 2 and 3 thing will help in the next question, the GCD to 1 hard, which has asked in starter 155 also. So that's all. Now we will discuss the complexity, like time complexity and space complexity. First, to discuss the space complexity, we are we are taking the answer matrix, like we have to construct this matrix. Only n and m values are given. So to make this matrix, we will have the order of n by m space, because we are using the 2D matrix. And if we discuss time complexity, we are iterating over this 2D matrix. So it would be order of n by m, where n are the rows and m are columns.